Hello, everyone. Welcome back to more chess. We're playing against Vladislav MBA, and I forget if it was on camera or off. I did some experimentation with this, which is like I guess a pretty standard response. And I at least one game that I experimented, I got absolutely blown out just because I was unfamiliar with what to do, and like I made some really bad moves that led to like pawns here and here, and all my pieces back here. It was really quite sad. Okay, so targeting here, fine. Let's let's just get out of night now before something weird happens and see what's up. I want to preserve. I don't know. I always had this idea. I remember once this attack happened and the computer was like, just play d4, and some people in the comments said the same thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do this if I'm planning d4, but like I think putting the knight here also rules out d4. So well, no, because takes if pushed then takes. Okay, the knight's attacked, but I can just get out of the way, and the bishop is still cut off. So I don't know. Maybe it's fine. But I always have this, so if they want to go in for this thing. So I think I'm just gonna, yeah, we'll just develop a pawn somewhat modestly. All right, castling straight away. Very lovely. I think this is okay. And I'm happy to back off and maintain this. And I I think this is okay. It exposes this square, but the knight's not there yet. And I don't think he can get there because of this. And if they go to the trouble of unpinning, I can just capture. But that creates this big hole here, which I always hate to do. I think you're supposed to fianchetto here. Oh, this would be pretty bad right now, wouldn't it? Because boop. See you later, bishop. What about improving the knight? Attacking this guy who's... Yeah, that seems pretty cool. Now it's attacked twice and defended twice, but one of those defenders is this pawn, which is not very comfortable for my opponent. They don't want to have to do it that way. And it's pinned. We do have to be a little bit careful. We're inviting the queen here, and then there's checkmate. Well, not checkmate, but really, really sad news. But, you know, just a simple move like this defends. Okay. So now this is defended better. Fine. Is there any way I could pile up more on that piece? Not easily. It would have to be with another knight who would have to get here. And that's not easy to do. Right, to get here, you have to come from here. To get here, you have to come from here? And or here. And there's not really any way to get to either of those squares with this knight at the moment. I guess developing this pawn, we could in principle... well, say here. We could in principle do like this. If the knight were going to stand still for a really long time, there's got to be a fast way to get there, but not with the pieces where they currently are, I think. Attack the bishop? This pawn is defended by my knight at the moment. Okay. Queenside expansion, very exciting. And then we get to do this. Unless the bishop tries to come forward, in which case we just kick him again. You're not going to do this, surely, right? My kingside is obviously a bit stunted. There's no arguing there. That's something I would like to address at some point. Okay, they're going for this. Really? I think I'm willing to unpin the knight to avoid putting my king here. And he's now got a super pawn watching over him instead of an ordinary pawn. And maybe they go for this to hurt my pawn structure a bit? At the expense of a piece, though? Well, not a piece, but a trade. Planning that? I can play knight here to defend. The problem is I'm not getting rid of that knight anytime soon. I guess here would be how to do it, but then queen pins the bishop. We just take. The bishop's not even pinned. I don't have a king here. It's just another bishop. Okay, I don't want to allow the knight to bring my king forward. So I'm going to defend that square. And it's hard for them to... I don't know. I guess they can just move this knight, huh? But where? Yeah. I wonder if I might just go queenside after all this mess. Okay, I didn't mind that because I kind of wanted to move this knight here anyway. Go away. They are going away. That's great news. I think. I don't know which direction to take my king. It honestly looks like the queenside is pretty safe. Like, I don't like how the pawns are so far forward, it's hard to hide the king. I don't know. Maybe that is why... Maybe that's enough for it to not be safe. Yeah. That's the... I don't know. I think this is a better place to be. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't quite know how to assess those things. But it seems like if I go kingside, I'm going to be in a little trouble over here. And I have to make several moves to prepare that. Maybe it's not bad. Here, castles is fine. But all of my opponent's pieces have a much easier time getting to the king side than the queen side, right? Okay, so this would be losing a pawn, which wait, would it? Yeah, of course it would. I could defend, or I could push. I think those are the two main options. I don't think there's any good counterattacking possibilities. If push, I make this into a good outpost for my opponent, but I think that, well, not really, because I can just defend here, right? Suppose queen here takes. Is there some problem with queen takes? I don't think so. But suppose they don't take. They pile up. Then I can take here, and it's fine. Okay, let's do that. I could defend with queen here, but that seems a little bit too aggressive. Moves like this would not be too far away. This rook might somehow get activated. I think I'm going to try to play more defensive. But it does make the queenside castling look a little bit less attractive that they now have a much easier route in. Right, the queen can get, well, not easily, but suppose takes. Now this is an open way. This is a way in. Likewise, if defends takes. Well, that might be okay because then I would get the queens off. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I like this. If they bring the queen here, then I think I like that. Otherwise, I'm not really convinced. But I want to put my bishop here eventually, and so it feels like I should still be castling over there. I think undefended pieces. This bishop. Otherwise, I think I'm good. Well, the rooks. Whereas my opponent has only this rook undefended. And this pawn. The thing, like, I feel like if I castle kingside, they're gonna do this. And this file is not so far away from being opened. Like, what are they gonna do if I castle queenside? The problem is castling queenside takes away this rook. And, like, none of my bishops can get over here at all. Some attack is gonna work, right? I don't know. The point of going opposite sides is to, like, you both start attacking each other. But I don't really have an attack. I need to do this, I think. And then maybe I can consider going queenside, depending on how things develop. Okay. They're just going to take the pawn. Pretty sure we capture here. Is there some reason not to? I don't think so. The queen is becoming undefended, but there are no good attacks against her. This is a pretty good bishop. But by taking here, don't I win a pawn? And also reduce the total amount of material on the board, which is something you want to do when you're up? And attack this pawn? What's the deal here? What am I missing about this? I don't know. Hopefully nothing. And it might help my queen get back over to this side of the board if some attack appears. I honestly, maybe I just don't castle. Maybe just boop, go here. This is a kind of safer spot. I want the rook over here, I think. I don't know. I think this file being open is still pretty scary, even if the king is not like right here. These spaces, the king has the pawns are pushed enough that the king has a little trouble controlling all the entries. Right? He could maybe do this, but there's still this square that they can get in. Maybe here takes care of that. But then something needs to defend the pawn. Anyway, we're attacking this pawn, which I think I mentioned. It's not very hard for them to defend. I think. I mean, like this, right? Would be the move. Or push, but I don't think that's a good idea. It attacks my pawn chain in the middle, which is kind of nice. Oh. Oh, please. Right? That makes me feel much safer, I think. They have a much safer king. I don't have any particular attack. They don't either, it must be said, at the moment, have much of an attack. But they're closer to getting one together. So I think I'm happy to get the queens off. Even if it improves this rook? Good question. What if I just snag a pawn instead? What are they going to do to me? Queen here? It's a little scary. Here. Here. Check. Maybe I just come over here, actually. I don't know. I think even if I have to get the rook out some other way, it might be okay to go this side. I don't know. The rook is going to be trapped for 100 years if I do that. And this knight is going to stuck. Oh, I can't. I can push this. Yeah, the bishop defends the knight. Okay. I was looking at this, but I feel like winning this center pawn might be better than... I don't know. Let's just get the queens out. I'm kind of scared about what will happen if I don't. And now we're not castling this way, that's for sure. Yeah, let's just try to get going on this. I'm going to try to go kingside. With the queen off, this diagonal being exposed is a lot less scary. Likewise, this file. My rooks are both undefended, and so are my opponents. And also this pawn. And this pawn. Not both of my opponents' rooks, only this one. So these are the undefended pieces of the two colors. Once I've gotten castled, what exactly is my plan? I feel like it should be some queenside attack trying to work on these pawns. This pawn is not so easy to attack, but these guys are vulnerable. If here, I stand where I am, I think. I don't know. This is not so great. It weakens this pawn, which I'd rather keep together. I think I would just take. But my opponent kind of has a chance to make. My opponent is up in tempo, right? I really want to get castled. They have a chance to do a few things that promote some other agenda while I'm in the middle of castling. They can either use those tempos to disrupt me, try to stop me from castling, or to make me give up something else while I castle. Even like not necessarily material, but just like position. I don't know what they would do. I feel like this is an okay move for them, but it does like trade off a pawn when I'm ahead material. But it's a weak pawn for a good pawn, so I think they might be okay with that. This is another idea. Then I think I would not take. Okay. But isn't this what I was going to do anyway? And the whole idea of bishop here was it strengthens this, but it doesn't strengthen it enough. I guess you're okay. You want to do this. And then if I take, I'm weakening both of these pawns, but if I don't take, you get to win a pawn in the end. So maybe this is when I say, ooh, really? I was kind of thinking of coming up here anyway. And I think this just makes that more appealing, right? Yeah. Castling is for chumps. Come get me. Now this book looks stupid. It can't go anywhere back here. And if push, I just take with bishop. I also could have tried this to defend, but I really like taking away this square from the rook and connecting my own rooks. Ooh, okay. Let's get going. That's exciting. That pins this pawn, actually. Ooh. I'm a little scared now. I didn't really consider how big a deal this would be. So how many, like... Oh, man. Oh, man. What have I done? But what if I just, like, get out of the way? Because, like, okay, takes... This pawn is in, like, danger? But I can take whatever they... Whatever they take with, I can recapture with just a pawn and still be down material already. Still, I think this is a good idea. Right, like, what are some specific attacks they could try? I think they want to go for this. And the knight also discourages that. Right, now we have this doubly attacked, and this defended an extra time. But my opponent is definitely on the attack right now. I just don't feel like they have enough to break me down. There's also this at some point. Because I think this is the only important square I need to focus on. If I'm given a moment, I could pick up that pawn. I don't think it's a high priority right now. Like, I'm doing fine on material. I just need to not have my king go bust. I kind of want to play this rook all the way over here, even though it's trapping this guy, because then I can chase this one away. I guess I could do this and have a similar kind of idea. But I want to be on this file, right? They might even back off voluntarily to defend this pawn. I don't think I would take the pawn. I already have a free pawn if I want it. What I want is king safety. This is a move I might play at some point as well, unpinning this pawn. And just generally getting out of the way of that rook. And controlling these squares, which are ones I said I wanted to control at some point, but I guess they don't matter right now. Okay, so now I can do this, can't I? Or just take this pawn. Or this. I had several ideas. I don't think this is doing anything. It's prepare. I don't know. Yeah, let's just get this rook out of here. They might try to defend it like that, but I will follow up with this rook move. Okay. Now, do I grab this pawn first? It's still protecting against this pawn push, and that's the only job I think it has. I think I'll go for it. Then I can fall back here, which is a great way to just deflect the attack on my king, and also attack theirs. Yeah, maybe I was wrong to want to chase this rook away, and just blocking the other one would have been fine. This, I still have there. Right, they can't do this yet. That's important. Because if I like deleted this bishop and then this move were played, I would be a little bit uncomfortable. Let's chase the rook away now before retreating with the bishop so that they can't go here. I don't think that matters. They're probably perfectly happy to go here. And I'll back up here, but it takes away a few places they might conceivably want to go with the rook to do things in this order. I could also try bishop here, attacking their bishop and forcing it to run in this direction to avoid being captured. Oh, they're gonna just trade rooks. Wow. Well, I didn't see that coming. Well, now, like, rook here maybe is an idea, and then closing in on this pawn. I guess that would be pretty bad actually, because then rook here pins the bishop and the rook to each other. So we have to do this first. There's also this. The pawn is pinned, but the knight isn't. Or the bishop isn't, rather. And we'd be attacking the rook and improving the knight. Okay, planning some discovery against the knight, I guess? But I think I can just go here. The rook has to move again. Or else trade, and then, I don't know, come here and... Would that be good for them? I kind of have to create some weakness this way, I think. I don't really want that to happen. Let's just defend the knight. I want my rook to be back here, wreaking havoc. But I'm scared of what's... Oh, no, the bishop's guarding this square. Okay, that should be fine. I don't have to create this pawn weakness. This rook still hasn't moved all game. He doesn't develop. The position develops around him. Now he's great. Okay, so they're obviously attacking this pawn. That's pretty cool, I guess. I could defend it, but I don't really care that much about it. I think. Here. Here. Yeah, this one's kind of awkward for him to take. Let's save this guy for a minute. Let's make it a little harder for this rook to start picking off pawns, because it's going to be easy for me to pick off pawns regardless. These two, anyway. And then I can start pushing. Okay, fine. And if you don't move here immediately, I push and then get my bishop here. Oh, okay, we'll do it in a different order then. Well, hang on. What about this? I don't really like that. This is fine. And now I can protect this pawn indefinitely. Or I don't know. I mean, I guess if all this happens, then I drop this pawn. Ooh. The king is getting feisty. But he can't step forward yet. And this will flush him back. And then this protects against a later entry. And also against rook takes. Opponent's obviously in some time trouble, but, you know, a 10-second increment, they should be okay in terms of time. I'm not sure about... Oh, I see. That lets the king go here? Do you really want that? Then I just scoop this pawn up, right? I guess the idea is here, but then no. This pawn is pinned, but I don't think it's a big deal. Like, what's the big idea there? I don't get it. Just push? My rook is doing a good job defending. And it's pretty tough for that rook to get here because he has to travel behind and my king is guarding that. So I think this is just game over now. I mean, it's been game over for a while, but... Okay. Yeah, so the king guarding this square was very useful. The rook was really trapped in. Like, he would have to get out like this or something. And I assume that that wouldn't be in time, right? Here, 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 here. You're like 2 steps too late. Well, maybe just 1. Okay. Right, computer analysis, please. Okay, so some blunders in the opening. Looks like 2. Both of my blunders were opening, yeah. So it doesn't like this at all. Bishop g4, what's wrong with this? Does it, like, actually allow this? I guess it does. I was thinking that the knight is pinned, so this is, like, not going to happen. But actually, you know, bishop here, suppose knight here. Okay, you got my queen. Good work. But then, oh, I got your queen and a pawn. So I think that's why this doesn't work. Maybe you could do something like this? No. Knight here? Attacks the bishop. Allows this, which I guess would be fine? No. I don't know. It's a mystery. I really have to play this pawn move, huh? Why? So first of all, like, let's see what I did. Oh, they don't even have to push the knight yet. They just take here. And then they get out with check. And I lose the bishop. Ah. I see. Yes, because I'm pinning their knight to the queen, but not if they can do something even more forceful, like threaten something more powerful than a queen. In that case, they're actually getting this discovered attack. That's cool. And then it didn't like knight here. I think the same tactic, right? Here, check. No, but then I have this. Here? Win queen, and then I don't see any big follow-up for their knight, so that doesn't seem to be it. I mean, there might be this sacrifice idea somehow, but no, the bishop is there. I don't know. Just develop a knight here? I don't know. Says that's fine. It prefers e6. Like, so I played this. What's the big problem? Pawn push. Okay. And you would think bishop backs up. But apparently that doesn't work. Takes. Takes. Oh. I see. I'd have to lose the queen there. So what is all this, like... So why don't they just do that first? Oh, because they have to remove my knight, who's the only guard of this square. And they can't do that because the knight is pinned. So first they chase the bishop. And it says just give up the bishop. Rather than trying to save it. Because if you try to save it, they actually can take this. And you just, like, you can't retake. You're just down a piece. And at least if you trade in the bishop, you get a pawn and you hurt their structure. Okay, I didn't see the importance of this diagonal. Opening up these pawns a little prematurely, I guess. I need to... Okay. So while it is nice to expand on the queen side and the Sicilian, you need to do something with your king first because of this diagonal, I think. Okay, and here again it says... Oh, so my thought was this. Trying to hurt, stop the bishop, like, while I still have a guard here. But they have the same tactic, right? Like this, maybe? No? Why not? I mean, I guess I could bring my queen out to defend this square. So that if it takes, it's okay. But I'm curious why this doesn't work. I still have my knight here. I guess it's because they can retake here, right? Takes. And then... They're threatening this again, but I have a knight. So if I do nothing, they take the knight. And if instead I push here... I think they take the knight anyway. Takes... I don't know. Maybe just here so that this... No? Now it's defended a little bit more strongly. I don't get it. Run back with the knight. I really hate that. This is such a good square. But I've created weaknesses that mean I'm not allowed to exploit that square yet. Okay. Well, hang on. What exactly is so wrong with this? Oh, they can just slip in behind. Yeah, I saw I was making a big square for the bishop here, but I didn't really see this consequence. And now my knight can't block. I have to go in with the rook. And I have weaknesses over here, I guess. I don't know. What's the big deal? Suppose takes. I guess I just have like weak pawns and the rook needs to guard this square, but I don't know, why not here? Ah, he tracks down that pawn. And then if here the rook gets pushed around, okay, I don't know. So now I'm definitely winning. We've gotten in this. I forget, what did I win? A whole piece? I must have done. I seem to be up a bishop. How are the pawns? I'm down a pawn. Okay, so this is the stage when I'm up, when I'm +2. And it doesn't like this, even though it does win a pawn, I think. I mean, that move looks great. What am I worried about? What's the problem here? Can they do something other than recapturing? Some bigger threat? Pawn here, maybe? That's an idea, I suppose. Takes pawn push. I need to keep an eye on this square in order to win the pawn. So say I try this. I don't know, it seems fine. Why don't I just win the piece? Or the pawn? It says, yeah, go for it, but... Oops. But you're gonna have weaknesses on your queen side, I guess? There's apparently something brewing over here. I guess we're letting the rook out is the problem somehow? So, like, if takes here... Something big must be happening. Okay, the queen stops me from castling. Oh, she gets to go here? Or here? Is this a perpetual check? Surely not. It is. Look at that. Because I could run here, but they get this rook covering it. Wow. So that's why it's saying you can't just afford to do nothing on the king side. You have to do this. This square is important to the queen if this were to open up. Wow. I'm never going to spot that. Sorry. I'm just going to win a pawn. My opponents aren't going to spot it either, so... But yeah, I mean, king safety is something I was worried about all game, and I just never really found the time to do anything about it. And they really did me a favor by giving up the queen. Any other issues I missed here? It's interesting. It doesn't usually suggest a6. It must be something about this bishop move that makes a6 better. Usually it's like, yeah, just go here. But as I said, I kind of like that you can threaten this to interfere with the bishop targeting f7? Apparently this is good for some reason. Why? Oh, it lets you threaten to chase the bishop away. I see. Yeah, and don't do this. Just go here. I always like the idea of eventually pushing to e5. But I guess if I'm going to do that, I should just do it early. And it's kind of like, if you do this first, you're sort of saying you don't care that much about e5. Okay. So this dropped the bishop in a way that we noticed in the postmortem. Well, we were informed of in the postmortem. Yeah, this was just... I don't know what that was about. Did they miss that the bishop was defending, or did they really want their knight unpinned? They did move with the knight next, so that makes sense. Okay, good. I'm glad this was right. It says knight f6 would be worse, but not horrible, because it shields my king when he retakes. It doesn't like this so much. Because, I see. I can take the knight, but only at the expense of opening up this, which is great for them. I see. So I had the idea of attacking this knight. But actually, with this f-pawn push, I can't really attack the knight. So I might as well just put the knight somewhere else. Yeah, and I mean, this f-pawn push makes a lot of sense. I forget if I was considering it yet in the game, but I did at some point think about... I was saying, like, if I go kingside, they'll just launch the f-pawn, and they could even do it this early. But they took the pressure off me. And it says just take, huh? Why not knight takes? Or, well, first, why not pawn takes? It weakens their pawns, I guess. It doesn't seem like... I don't see what's so bad about it. And so why is knight takes better? Not sure. But I was right. I was scared of opening up this file because I had the idea of my king coming over here, but then I didn't end up doing it. And the file opens up anyway, so might as well just grab the pawn without having to distract my queen. That's fair. Okay. Grab the pawn. It really wants me to develop my king side. What did I miss in the ending? I imagine there were ways to simplify things. It likes bringing the knight over first. That's a good point. But it says they should have been working on breaking down this pawn chain. Or just make this push immediately. It says you don't even necessarily have to bring the knight over. You could just bring the rook first. There's apparently not any real danger here. It seemed kind of scary. Like, suppose here, pawn push. Well, okay, instead of pawn push, suppose bishop takes. You get the bishop, but then, like, this seems horrible, right? I mean, I'm so scared, but I guess it's fine. They can deliver some checks, but eventually you just wander over here. Yeah, okay. And they can't check anymore, and my pawn structure is totally devastated, and they have really active rooks, but apparently everything is fine. Yeah, I just didn't want this to happen. Even though apparently it's all right. I brought the rook over first, and the knight over first. And it says that's fine, but you don't have to. And it does like rook here slightly better than rook to c8. Okay, sure. Pick up the pawn or threaten to pick up this one. Sure. But I wanted to get rid of that rook. Or at least make him go away. Says that pawn push is okay, but not really necessary. You can just ignore that pawn. This was a mistake, apparently. So I saw this possibility. And they do get the pawn back in the end. And they get to create a passer out of it, I guess. So why? I was supposed to go here. Why? That's so weird. I guess it's like to work on a checkmate, basically, right? And okay, go pick up that pawn if you want it. I guess it's not a checkmate. It's like work on this, picking up some pawns first. I'm just a little scared about all these passers they have. I.e. one. Huh. Anyway, that just seemed more complicated. But I guess the point is that after this, like, I don't really have the advantage anyway. I don't know. Obviously, I have a big advantage, but they get the passed pawn anyway this way. But they don't. Like, we got to trade 2 pawns off, so I think I'm happy with this. With having played it the way I did. To step up with the king. No, it's changed its mind. It likes pawn push immediately. I was worried about king here. And then I guess that's still just like not a very good trade for them. Interesting. And you can always chase the king away anyway. With your rook. Okay. Sorry, I skipped to the end there accidentally. Minus 60. And then it really, really likes c4 much better. That's a surprise to me. Why is rook take so much worse? Oh, this pawn is pinned, and you can just push through. Why waste time? I see. So this is, like, obviously super winning, but it apparently wins a little more slowly. It gives the king a chance to come in front. Okay, whatever. Anyway, we've clearly won by this point. Let's stop analyzing. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.